Ready and break.
My light is dying. Sorry.
Hello and welcome to the TCAP, the Strangers Guild recap show.
Grab a cup and cozy up as we talk about our favorite parts of the show. My name is Betty. I play Lady M on the show, our resident bard. I am who.the.lovely on TikTok and Instagram.
Edit this out. My name is Sabrina.
That's staying in, baby.
I am BBEG Rita on all socials, and I play NORTIA Thornwood, our wonderful wizard.
Fantastic.
And we are your hosts.
And we've got some very special guests joining us today for the show. Special guests, if you could introduce yourself for the people.
Hi, I am Caleb the Bard on all socials. I am Caleb the DM for our Strangers Guild. And tonight I am playing none of the characters where I would usually be the other characters. And I am here with my little green tea with mint and lemon. And I believe that is all I have to say.
Perfect. Moy. Hi. See, I am Icarus. I play Dianthus. You can find me at IICARYS just about everywhere. And I'm not drinking tea. I despise it. I have a Sprite with me. I've drank half of it
Sprite,
already.
more like spite, baby.
Hell yeah, dude. And I'm just happy to be here, man.
My turn. And I am Freckle. I play Yarrow. And you can find me at Freckled Aquarius or Freckleworks on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, you name it. All the silly little apps. And I have the tea I'm drinking today. Would love to know how to say this. I'm just gonna ignore. There's a name that I don't know how to say, and then there's marigold, mango, and apricot in it.
Ooh, that sounds delightful.
Oh, yeah.
It is very sweet and fruity, like us.
So, without further ado, let's start sipping.
Sabrina, dear, what are you sipping on this evening?
As this is our first stream when I am in London,
Woo!
I'm having a classic English breakfast tea with lots of sugar, and it's almost 2 a.m., so yes, it is almost breakfast time.
That's right.
Iconic.
What about you, Betty?
Today I have green tea with lemon, and it is delightful.
Lemon.
What are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about the gays.
Yes!
The panic.
Here
Yes!
we go.
We are talking about Dianthus and Yarrow.
Our favorites.
Our faves, indeed. I believe we spent a good 20 minutes talking about how much we loved them last episode, and we did not do that. We love them. Capital LOVE, bitches. I would like to
That is
read you
true.
the thesis for this episode. And also, if you didn't see, this episode is titled Time of Death. Cute. The thesis for this episode, which we will be breaking into parts, is even when it's not you, it's always you. You fear everything in the world but me, and I will protect you from everything that scares you.
That's so good.
Thank you.
First of all, to be sitting at the table when these lines are dropped between these two characters is to be witnessing a Renaissance painting in the middle of creation. It's truly such an honor and a gift to not only have Dianthus and Yarrow on the show today, but to watch them play together. It's so much fun. And I can't wait to hear you guys talk about your breakdown of these characters and what they're thinking and their little craniums. Because all the time I'm like, what's going on up there, team? My God.
too.
So I'm excited.
There is so much going on up there.
So before we jump into the clips, even when it's not you, it's always you, is very much in reference to wow, Dianthus is on the moon and still a fucking simp.
Listen.
Anywhere in the galaxy. Put Dianthus anywhere in the galaxy.
Okay. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What of it?
Explain yourself.
I can't.
Yes,
Happy
and
about it.
Yes,
In fact,
and.
I'm happy about it.
Listen.
moving on. Done and done.
Done and done, dude. What? He's gay. It's. It can be as simple as that. But
Me too,
when
bestie.
you are dead and alone for like 100+ years, and the first person you meet besides your bestie is like kind to you and is going to you for help, that's fucking, it's weird. It's weird initially. He did think there was something very wrong with Yarrow when they met. That's all right.
Rightfully so.
And
This man rolled up into your home and said, "Help."
yeah. 5 years ago from the start of in-game is when they met initially. I'm pretty sure that's what we agreed on. So for 5
Yes.
years, this purple guy has been showing up in my house and just like hanging out because his brother is sick and needs help.
I would also like to point out, Caleb loves ripping these two apart. Caleb
Yes,
loves
they
ripping people
do.
apart.
Let's talk about that.
First of all, one of the clips we have is when you made everybody forget each other.
Rude.
Ooh.
And then Dianthus is on the moon. The moon.
The moon.
Explain yourself before we make these
So-
people cry.
So, as a DM, I sometimes see myself as a director, and it's very sitcom-esque, right? Where sometimes there are two characters that are just so hot for each other right off the bat. You got to put them in different rooms, right? Like you gotta make them work for it. There was I needed
Right.
some obstacles, some stuff to persevere through. And that is how, yeah, Dianthus just be dying sometimes. It's a good time.
Dianthus do be dying sometimes.
Absolutely
That's what he
true.
does.
It's what I do. Stick to what you know, you know?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Freckle, I have a question for you. We know
Go for it.
that for Dianthus, they're constantly being the one who is ripped away. But for Yarrow, how does it feel to like always be constantly chasing after the person that they care for the most?
I think it's definitely rough out there. But I also think that it is that he doesn't mind because it is them. And they feel like you have helped me so much. I feel like I owe you a lot, right? And so he just kind of is like, I will do whatever I can to like make up for all the help and like the hope that you have brought into my life. So he's just, it's rough and it hurts. And I think it's worth it.
I have a question for the both of you.
Oh god, yeah, what's up?
To set the scene a little bit.
Yeah.
At this point in the campaign where we just ended, end of season 1,
Yes.
which if y'all haven't seen the finale, you need to go watch it because it's phenomenal. Do Dianthus and Yarrow realize that 1, the other person likes them, and 2, they like the other person? Do you think as their players, do you think that the characters have realized that yet? Elaborate. Take turns, please.
Rock, paper, scissors. Who wants to go first?
Sure.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Off.
Oh.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. God
Betty,
damn.
can you
Rock,
scoot to
paper,
your
scissors,
right
shoot.
just a little bit?
What's wrong
Me?
with us?
Oh, other way.
You go
that way.
first.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll go first. What was the question? Oh, all right. Yes. Well, okay. I don't think they know for sure that
Okay.
it's mutual.
Yeah.
And I think I said this literally earlier today in the DMs that Dianthus didn't realize anything. The gay panic happened on the moon. So, like, it happened once they were separated. And for 6 months, his time, Yarrow was not there at all. That's kind of when it began to settle in. And now, in season 2, the next step is ignoring that.
Love it.
Iconic.
Yarrow, on the other hand, I think he's had a bit of a crush for a while, but he's like, I would not risk mentioning this. I will also push this down as deep as I can, but he's also not subtle or good about being subtle. But I think as like they've spent more time with like the whole from like BrickCon event onward and stuff and getting, having to spend like nearly every day together with all these people and I think that definitely he absolutely has that crush there. But I don't think he knows Dianthus feels that way. Even when Lady M was like, I think he's flirting. They did not, I don't think they realized that that's for real. Just I don't know. They're like, I don't like friends. Why would I?
Yeah.
It's one-sided. It's one-sided. Why would they even? No, there's no way.
I think the hardest part there is Dianthus expresses his most like care and love for Yarrow when Yarrow's not in the room. Yeah. We're about to see that in our first clip here. I'm gonna go ahead and we will press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
Do I get the sense that there is now a third person who's just wiped?
Yeah.
Oh no. I forgot you all. I forgot all of you. KAAL, if this is a spell, either you need to do something or we need to find somebody who can break it, fix it. This is wrong, I can tell you that much. I feel the loss. Everything kind of comes rushing back at that point.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Yarrow feels not to change your relationship with them, but
Go
just
for
kind of
it.
like your memories of them. You feel a lot more emotion from them than actually happened, if that makes sense. Like you feel like their emotional extremes were a lot more obvious than they had probably presented to you.
Can we have Caleb explain that?
Yes, that's
Being
literally
put
what
on
I
the
was gonna
spot.
say. Is I would love to hear from all three of you, but the thing that strikes me is Caleb is meddling. Caleb is a little meddler who likes to meddle in people's affairs.
Don't want to
So
change your
what-
relationship to them. Hello.
But the emotions are
So-
strong.
The emotions-
They're very strong.
They're stronger.
So I'll start with one comment before I go into that. I do this a lot in stream when I'm like, I'm about to do something really mean to one of my players because I love playing with this group. But I'm like, my evil DM is like, like stroke the goatee moment. That being said, with Dianthus in that specific instance of just like, this is when you deal with a recluse character like Dianthus is. It's presenting the stakes to them in a way that, like, maybe Dianthus as someone who is not social or like maybe cares about, their relationships with all sorts of people, but that same threat and mindfulness, it's just like a combat, right? Like the risk there is if this goes wrong, you will lose that with this person. If this goes wrong, you might hurt if you lose this person, or if you aren't strong enough, you may hurt yourself if you aren't strong enough to save this person. So it's layers of it in a way where I like the the role play and the romance have as much weight as the combat. So this is one of those moments where I was like, hey, y'all might be fighting stuff, but like if you mess this up with Emrys or with Yarrow or whatever, as far as that connection to Dianthus, that's a fate worse than death. In my perspective.
Snaps to that.
Snaps.
To that.
Continuing.
Yarrow.
Okay.
About he's your little guy.
I know.
He's your little guy.
I do not control the little guy in my brain is the thing. He just acts. I mean, kind of parroting what Caleb said, forgetting people for ironic reasons is like, yeah, a fate worse than death at this point in time, because he already has forgotten literally everything about himself. So the threat and the fear of losing that again, of losing even more, not just that, but knowing something important is lost. Horrific. It's different thinking back on his past. That's just completely wiped and gone. There's not really there's a hole there. He knows that there's something missing, but he can't pinpoint what. But when it came to like Yarrow and Em and NORTIA and forgetting all of them, he knew something was very wrong, and it wasn't going to be right if he just continued on without trying to fix it. Y'all fucked him up good. The power of friendship really does work.
And it goes without noting, as the DM, this is the second time this has happened to Dianthus, when he wakes up and doesn't have these memories, but this time he has something to hold on to that isn't actively trying to kill him.
Right.
The wild thing is, I don't know if Dianthus will admit that he's our friend.
No. Well, actually, season 2, Caleb and I have already talked, like, one-on-one stuff, like, character arc stuff, kind of. But, ironically, Dianthus is going down. He's going to be much softer and much worse in season 2.
Fuck my arc!
Are you going to be a friend?
It's not going to be a good arc, I'm telling you all that much.
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
I feel you.
Oh no.
Freckle?
I'm a little scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's very interesting. Because like you said, he's forgotten everything, and him knowing that like all these important people are missing, and that they have become important enough for you to miss them that much,
Right,
you know?
right.
I think that alone kind of says a lot. And Yarrow didn't forget, from what I remember, I know he didn't forget Dianthus.
I don't think you forgot anybody.
And so
I think you
it's,
rolled
yeah,
super
I'm
good.
pretty sure I have
Oh?
great,
Is that incorrect?
who did I forget one?
Yarrow had the most like remembrance, I believe,
Mhm.
but it was kind of opposite, right? Because Dianthus didn't really remember, and it was like terrifying. Yarrow remembered, but like didn't have access to how capable you were. So it was, I know that I'm forgetting, like I know who's important, but I don't know what to do to save anyone in this moment. So it was reflective fear, but for different reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's
Sympathetic to
interesting.
Yarrow.
Right, because he's so like, I don't know, he always feels like he needs to help his friends. You know, like people help me. It's only fair that I help them back. Like these are people I care about. Um, and so he's just, yeah, he just really cares about his friends a lot. And even if, you know, he's unsure if Dianthus would consider him a friend or not, I think you said that he said that once before or something. You know, after knowing each other for that many years, he very much considers Dianthus a friend, like a very good friend for sure. You know, so
Yeah. I think, like, especially mirroring that idea, Yarrow's constant, like, anytime somebody goes to help Yarrow, Yarrow's like, I will repay you.
Yes.
But
yes.
we'll do anything for anyone, no questions, no exchanges. It's not transactional on the other end. But, like, I think that's what's really beautiful about that relationship, is that you have somebody who, like Dianthus, who is like, honestly, fuck you. I'm gonna do what's best for me, except for this little guy. You touch this little guy, I will do anything. I will pay any toll, any fee. I will give up my life to make sure that this man is okay. And than having the person who's like, if you do something for me, I owe you. Like, I have a life debt to you.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. You guys hurt me.
Devastating.
Speaking of hurting me, so Dianthus was on the moon, silly little guy, and with another silly little guy, KAAL. And what were the consequences of that? Started 1 minute 17 to find out, besties.
Wahoo! Here we go.
Okay, press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna just tap my head. I want a mind link with him right now. I don't want anyone to hear.
I would say at this point there's a unspoken bond between the two of you that kind of What is it, Dianthus?
This is dangerous. This could get deadly. And you're not subtle, but I am thick in the head, so if you want something, use your words. Before we go in there.
Dianthus, are you worried for me?
You give me reason to be worried.
I ask nothing of you. You are my friend. And I would be remiss to not tell you I hope that we don't die.
Yeah.
That being said.
The last thing I'd like to do before the cut.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna walk over, I'm gonna kiss him. Brief, very quick. Don't die. And we're gonna get in position to fight.
You freaking maniac!
I have no excuse.
Explain yourself.
Listen, 6 months with somebody is a long time. And I feel like it's Yarrow's fault. Okay? It's Yarrow's fault because Yarrow is the one who has initially been making him be like, okay, caring about people doesn't automatically mean they get hurt. Caring about people sometimes helps them. So, caring about KAAL, watching over KAAL, them watching over each other on Valia for 6 months was beneficial. And yes, there was homosexual activity up there, perhaps. It was a bonus. But
the gays were gaying.
The gays were winning, and like, you know, it was a very selfish act, and I do at least expect that he and KAAL are going to have a conversation in season 2 at some point about that. It was an extremely selfish act of one of us very well could die or be lost after we go into this fight, and I don't want to possibly live with the what if. I need to know if there's going to be something here. And wouldn't you know it, he didn't think of KAAL when he kissed. So, now he knows. And he's not going to do anything about it.
Speaking of that, do you think that beautiful ideology will carry over into next season when we are constantly at death's door? And do you think
everybody will get a kiss from Dianthus? Dianthus is gonna kiss everybody.
Kiss of death, baby. It is definitely going to carry over, I think. But it's how do I say it without giving you too much away what I'm kind of preparing? There is, I think, such a thing as of caring too much, of putting too much emphasis on the protector role when you're putting that pressure on yourself. And we might most likely see that happening with Dianthus next season, where he's putting a lot more pressure on himself to protect everyone that he right now trusts and cares about, given that we don't fucking know who to trust at this point in time. He's not going to be very, very, very friendly towards anyone outside his little core group here. But those in the core group, he'll lay down whatever life he has for them, yes.
Besties.
I'd like to show a beautiful parallel, because if there's one thing that Caleb fucking rocks at, it's a parallel, my guy.
Period.
Okay.
And the love triangle with Dianthus is parallel to the love triangle with Nortia in the way that Dianthus kisses Atlas, or
whoa! Not yet!
Yeah.
Not yet!
Yeah.
Jumping ahead there!
Hey, leave my twink alone.
Yeah?
I love Atlas. I love him.
Dianthus kisses KAAL in a rushed moment.
Yep.
And Atlas kisses Nortia in a rushed moment when they think that they're gonna lose each other. Versus like Dianthus and Yarrow and Nortia and Gunnar says it out loud, which is something that I don't think Dianthus will ever do, but it's when I confess my feelings for you, it will not be because it's rash.
Yeah.
You know? And like every time, like even when Yarrow has been at death's fucking door, you know, like has been almost gone, Dianthus doesn't say, I'm in love with you. Dianthus doesn't kiss him. He just is like, I'm here for you. I'm going to save you. Stop fucking dying on.
Get away from the water! Get away!
Yeah.
Get away from the water.
Stop drowning.
Stop drowning, I'm begging. But yeah.
Now, did Yarrow find out about the kiss?
No.
Or is it just Nortia who
Just
knows about the
Nortia
kiss?
knows. Yarrow, I think,
Yarrow
walked
does
away.
not
Some
know.
secrets are not yours to tell,
Some secrets are
Nortia.
not yours to tell.
Period.
And it's her and Zehan. Zehan also saw it.
There's one more
Right.
person.
Is there?
Fuck that guy. I hate Zehan.
And Perry.
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 Yes, I forgot. What a sneaky little lad.
Right?
I
I
want to
think
make
it will be
Strangers Guild
so
trivia.
interesting.
Strangers Guild trivia.
Oh,
that'd
that'd
be
be
so
so
much
much
fun.
fun.
Who knows about the calculus? What were you saying, Freckle?
I was saying I think it's so interesting that the two people who specifically don't know about that kiss are Lady M and Yarrow.
I don't
And
want
I,
Lady
for
M
one,
to
would
hear
love
it.
for them to both find out about it.
Lady M scares me so bad. I don't want her to know that I kissed her man, okay?
Here's the thing. I don't think that Lady M would be mad at you. I think she'd be mad at Cal.
That's why I don't want her
think
to know.
you're
I
correct.
don't want her to know.
I think you're correct.
Because Cal will die
Yeah.
by her hand. Like, I can't let her
Cal
know.
will die. That is true. No.
Rest
I think
in peace, Calilicious.
speaking of parallels, I think Yarrow and M's reaction will be the feeling, the hurt will be similar, but they will have very different reactions. And I'm very excited to see how that plays out as well, because I feel like Yarrow and M are like, we had a conversation about how Nortia and M are different but the same. Yarrow and M are just different and different, right? That's kind of why it works, right?
Right.
So yeah, I'm interested to see how we react, and I can't wait for us to talk about it, because M and Yarrow are gonna talk about it, and I can't wait.
We absolutely should.
We should. Hey bestie, have you heard any weird little kooky rumors lately?
Isn't your man just my man? What's up with that?
What the heck is up with that? That's
Speaking
so
of weird
funny.
little kooky rumors, I heard that
know.
even when Cal was almost naked, Dianthus was thinking of somebody else. If you want some tea on that, baby girl, we can start at 2:45. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
The last thing, as you're kind of like collecting yourself, as I said, there's these moments that have come up with Cal that are strangely non-survival oriented. But there's a moment where you are like kind of putting all these things together, and in an odd and mistimed moment, you remember not the time with Cal. In a quick, invasive flash, remember holding Yarrow after he had drowned.
Oh.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Side note, I love Icarus's reaction to things. It's so funny.
I love when Caleb says something and all of us turn red and fall off camera.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I'm making like a compilation for every episode I've done so far. Of just like every time someone screams or like falls off camera, and I'll release it one day to the public.
How many are there so far? Like
You don't want to know.
500?
We're up to 25 at this
Because
point.
Caleb says a lot of like cool shit. So.
Yeah.
True, that's true.
Retweet. Caleb's like, don't flatter me.
Stop.
Pointing at Caleb, instigator. Goddamn instigator. I didn't think of Yarrow. I didn't say, oh, well, I'm standing there under the water. The first person I think of is Yarrow and Nogwin. No, I didn't say any of that. That was all this guy.
Did you need to? Did you need to say it?
Listen.
There are certain things, and like as a DM, right, you follow certain parallels and you throw stuff out there. And part of it was that I was influenced by some roles. Sometimes you're like, why am I doing the saving throw right now? And I'm like, it'll take a second for the scene to develop, and there you go. But something too, it's like as a DM, you never want to. I tell people I never have the NPC initiate a kiss or an intimate moment. I will initiate, like, sending them to the moon, right? I'll initiate plot points, but this was something where I was like, I want Dianthus. Like, I didn't present the scene to illustrate this NPC. I illustrated the scene to show Dianthus later on when that kiss happened. Not that I didn't know it was actually going to happen. But when that happens, it's what question are you actually asking and what does the answer or the outcome actually tell you?
Right.
I also feel like it's no.
Do it.
No.
Do it. Nope.
I also feel like it's no coincidence that when presented a waterfall that Dianthus thinks of Yarrow. Like, that is every time you have saved that little guy's life, it's been because of water.
Yeah, I don't know,
they
Caleb,
drown.
if it was on purpose or not, but like, we didn't have a clip of it because, or at least I don't think we might. We might actually. The first waterfall clip in the montage episode where Yarrow did kind of drown for the first time. That, unironically, dude, probably like one of the most important scenes of their relationship is that conversation. Right. So I don't know if it was on purpose that you had a waterfall be there, and that's kind of what triggered things.
Oh yeah, no, completely. Okay. Like that was my thing, because I talked to my characters beforehand too, or I talked to my players about like, hey, I'm gonna do something. It's a little risque, right? But I promise I'm not. I'm not gonna like,
right.
jump scare, right? But. Awooga. But yeah, like in showing a scene like that, it's important. And I did this too when Yarrow first saw Dianthus, with your mask and shirt off type situation. It's not about putting my players in compromising situations. It's about putting the characters in moments where they have to make decisions about their emotion. So yes, the waterfall was completely, again, parallels. That scene, y'all were wandering through the Feywild. I could have narrated any sort of stuff, but I was like, a waterfall is a similar thing, a parallel to your moment with Yarrow.
Yeah.
So
it was good. It was fucking good. It got me good.
I was gonna say, I wanted to know, we have lots of like, because Dianthus's feelings, and please chime in at any moment, dear Dianthus, are so baited, right? Yeah. He keeps them so close. They are also showing everyone everything, right? Like being so withheld is information in and of itself, right?
True.
And so number one, and number two, I would like to know if Yarrow has similar moments to that, even not narrated, if you, Freckle, as Yarrow, have been like, this makes me think of Dianthus, or like you know what I mean, things like that that are like that you find in the story as well. We all want to know. Asking for a friend.
I think. Oh boy, let's see. I think definitely there are a lot of moments where he's just like thinking if Dianthus isn't there, like, oh man, like I wish he was here, or what would he do? Because I think having so much trust in them, when you're in like these crazy new situations, you look towards the people that you are familiar with, and that you're comfortable with. Um, and so there's plenty of moments, where he's just like, oh man, I wish this person was here. Dianthus. Um, um, and yeah, and just kind of thinking about how much more comfortable scary situations would be if, you know, they were perhaps there. Even like I don't know, like when we did our little heist or something, you know, that those funny things, and he's like, "Oh man, we're doing great, but like, too bad Dianthus is missing out," you know?
Cute.
Little things like those in the back of his mind.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
It is funny too to show moments like that because the way that Freckle plays Yarrow is so true to the naive nature that I will, and I've done this a couple times, but I will, without saying it outright, be like, this NPC is hitting on Yarrow. But
Mm-hmm.
like in moments like I think Gon Kui was probably the first one. The owner of the
Yes.
tavern is like into you and you just never
Over the
pick up
head.
on it. Like over the head.
No, this man lives in his tower. He's been working on research, trying to make sure his brother doesn't die for the past couple of years. Like, he is not even remotely aware of
And everyone in town is
those
like,
things.
that's my type. That's
They're
my
Like,
That's
oh,
my type.
mysterious. Like, what's going on in there?
But wasn't there also some
Well-
comment made really early on that they have a lot of secret admirers too? Like,
So Dianthus and Yarrow, their perpendicular aspects are their relationships to the people of daow'vern, right? Dianthus is the harbinger. He's the deathbringer. He is the one underneath, the caves. Yarrow is hot, right? Like everyone,
Word.
like
wait!
Yarrow is paid by the community to show up to the Breakcone event to be put on display and literally sparkle in front of everybody. And both of these characters, both Dianthus and Yarrow, are like, yeah, no, I just stick to myself, and literally everyone in town knows who you are for very different reasons. But yeah, it
Right.
is.
Right.
Yeah. And even though Yar spends a lot of time in his tower, he still goes out and he's very friendly, he's friendly with the people in town, I'm sure. So I think there is that also difference between the little silly guy in the church who's like, don't talk to me, and Yaru who's like, when I go out, I am gonna be friendly to people. Like, this is like our community. That I think is very important to him, and he wants to have like a good standing with them. So it's definitely it was quite a shock when people were not so happy with him.
Not to derail the conversation too far, but what you just said about this is our community. Dianthus has that moment in that solo where he forgets everyone, where he remembers like the first when he landed on daow'vern, and how he saw how fast a community will turn on somebody that they find suspicious. He's aware. He didn't help the situation, but he's aware of how easy a community can turn on a person. So he keeping a distance from the community outside is almost a defense mechanism. Like, one day soon, everyone's gonna turn on somebody, and I'm gonna be the easiest one to turn on. Lo and behold, it's fucking Yarrow instead, little guy that the community turned on. So now it's like, I have to protect you because last time this happened, it was me, and I had to run off into the woods and live there for a couple of years before I could come back.
It very much is giving, I have never been perceived in my life, and everybody else being like, I literally perceive you every second of the day. You're not, I hate to break it to you, Yarrow, your invisibility cloak is not on right now.
Oh, he is being perceived.
Speaking of being perceived, Lady M and Nortia really perceive you too, and your gay rights,
Gay rights.
Get right!
Gay rights.
gay rights, gay wrongs,
right.
which we'll see both in this little clip. So, let's go ahead and start at 3:40 to find out. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
I need exact words.
I don't know. I think he's trying to flirt. Or, really just wanted to show some sort of battle or something. But he's showing you the little
Kind of-
marble.
Yeah, kind of like how Dianthus tries to flirt with you.
No, that's funny. No, there's none of that.
You are also cute.
Immediately, like, it's purpler.
I ain't even here to defend myself, dog.
But you hold it in front of you as Yarrow goes to set up the fire and help with camp. There's a moment where it's just Dianthus and everything seems simple, and you can actually see Yarrow through the glass. And then you do see the moment with Dianthus and KAAL as the two of them are suspended above ground. You do spot the kiss. And the magic dissipates, and all you see through the glass is Yarrow innocently dealing with stuff around camp.
Some secrets are not yours to tell, NORTIA. Some secrets are not yours to tell. Some secrets are not yours to tell. Please learn your lesson right now. Not everybody needs all the information. It's going to be okay.
Oh, I love Nortia.
I adore Nortia. So
Gay
quick
rights
with
and
it.
gay wrongs.
That's right.
Gay rights and gay wrongs.
Alright, my turn.
Yes.
Betty.
What is up?
What is
What's
up?
going
Just
on?
because your clip showed up first, I am so curious
Yeah.
if there was any specific moment in time in the game where Em was like, "There's something fruity," enough for her to like confidently be like, "Oh, like how he flirts with you to Yarrow." I'm just curious what makes her think that.
So I'm so glad that you just asked me that question. Let's get into it. So
Sure,
I would say, not to like go too far into like M psyche, but everything. Okay, this is how Yarrow and M are similar, right? Everything's transactional, right? I owe you. Thanks so much. I'll pay you back, right? For M, it's like Fae favors. It's the similar vein, but it's like it's like a different, but it's the same. So anyway, seeing Dianthus out of the goodness of their heart take care of Emrys, my ass, right? Like, absolutely not. You want to kiss the purple tiefling, and I can see it, right? Number one. Number two, I would say, I mean, it's not very many times that Dianthus uses names.
Yes.
Every time Dianthus talks about Yarrow, Dianthus uses their name. Which is, I don't know if you even notice that you're doing that.
No, I don't.
But every time Emma's just like, interesting. And like there's lots of like little quips and things that just I think, correct me if I'm wrong, in game are just like Freckle and Icarus being funny at each other. But like in character, I'm like, just kiss, just on the mouth. Right? So it's a combination of like who M is as a character, and also the Icarus and Freckle, your dynamic is so fantastic that it translates so well. You guys like each other so much as people that it can't help but seep into your characters, which is really, really fun to watch. So it's a combination of things that Em was like, yeah, you guys you're gonna kiss like someday. Like it's just gonna happen, right? So yeah, that's what I would say.
Fair. It's important to note Freckle and I have known each other for several years at this
Like,
point.
yeah, we've been playing together for a long time,
Yeah.
so I think it's easy for us to like bounce off of each other's characters. We know kind of like how we each play really well.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that translates pretty clear.
Yeah, I would say I want to know Freckle as Yarrow. Tell me about that moment for you when Emma's like, oh, like how, oh, right, like. I want to know what went through, because you responded instantly, which was so brilliant. You're like, oh, that doesn't happen. That was hilarious. And I need to know what your, sorry, I'm on my camera, what your thought process was for that.
It was immediate. I think he was talking before he even realized he was
Yeah.
As soon as he heard it, he just wanted to like be like, absolutely not, because I don't believe that they flirt with me or even like me in that way. So to hear it from an outer source, because until that moment, I think it had all been in his little head. Um, he was like, this is just a me thing. Like, there's absolutely no way. Any signs, they don't exist. So for M to say that, it was just like, I think maybe that moment is kind of a little bit when it went like, oh, like this, am I? It's that denial, but also that like, oh, if someone is seeing this, could there potentially be like a little bit of that hope, perhaps, of maybe this is reciprocated, but also is M being for real? Is she messing with me? She doesn't really mess with people necessarily very often, so there was a lot going through his head there.
I love it. I love it.
Now, Sabrina, Nortia saw something she probably should not have seen.
Miss Thing,
Miss
Nortia.
Thing. Now that they're all back together at the start of season 2, I'm just curious. You have to spoil nothing right away. But I mean, how is she gonna be acting around the specific boys that are in trouble?
I think for Nordia specifically, one of the things that she hasn't gotten to show is that she does have a lot of composure when she's not in life or death situations. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you also saw the solo where she jumps off a motherfucking cliff.
I was
Yes.
there.
She
Insane.
like in instances where it's not life or death, literal end of the world, like she is calm, cool, collected. And I feel like now she's like, okay, there's a mess, but it's not like the world is exploding mess. And she also learned that like secrets sometimes are a secret for a reason. And that's her big lesson that she like learned from that season. So I feel like she's not gonna say anything because I think part of her also realizes that if someone else had saw the same thing with the person that she likes the most, who I won't reveal who it is, that she would equally like want to hear it from that person and not from somebody else.
Interesting.
And I mean, we see that when she's talking to Gunnar about Cash Die, when she thinks that Gunnar was in love with Cash Die, right? Like she wants to hear it from him. So I think equally she knows that Yarrow and Lady M deserve to hear it from Dianthus and from KAAL.
Curious to see if they will.
Looking at Kayla, will KAAL tell her? That's a question. Is KAAL gonna say anything?
It's funny listening to a conversation like this with your players when, as the DM, you know what you're like. This is coming in season 2. Like this stuff's about to happen, and Sabrina is really. It's funny you said that about Nortia, like being composed in situation. It's because Sabrina is composed in moments of like player mishap or like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like I would freeze up or not know what to do, but Sabrina can key onto it well or throw something at me to throw me off. But you did stumble upon something in that statement that is going to be a theme for season 2. So
quick, what did you say? Repeat.
Care to share?
Replay.
secrets.
Oh Jesus! Great.
God damn
And
it.
who has them
boy.
and who keeps them and stories and it's the hardest part about telling stories or about following a story is in life we never have moments to properly just sit with what's going on, and I think Nortia is the person that is most aware of this. And in the context of the lore in daow'vern in the campaign, Nortia is tasked with a lot of juggling of secrets. And I think that's what keeps it very true to like the D&D campaign aspect, but also makes it to where if you roll an insight against Nortia, what are you looking for? There's so much stories. There's so many stories to glean from. It makes it easy to be like, I don't know. Nortia is thinking about whatever. But
I also think that like my favorite part of that whole thing is that Nortia would never withhold or believes that she would never withhold something that is hers to tell from the group, right? Like she like everything Nortia knew about herself, y'all knew within instance that she knew. She was like, I might be a god, I don't know. She did not keep a single thing from you, but like when she saw the impact of like telling M's secret, you know, and now the two people that she cares about so much are like they don't like each other that much. You know, and I think also like if she told Lady M or Yarrow, either of them first, she would feel so guilty about one not giving their partners. They're not actually together, but you know, they're like love interests, a second to explain it, but also like you don't want to tell two people that it's at the same time, but also whoever you tell first, that is a clear like line that you're drawing. Right?
Mhm.
Totally.
Speaking of a clear line, when I was writing this thesis, I was like, I think it's gonna sound like it's just from Dianthus's perspective, but you fear everything in the world but me. I think Dianthus is so scared.
You're right! Oh my god! You're so correct! He's so scared all the time.
And I think that, like, it's very, like, much dismissed by, like, the people who are seen as strong, right? Like, Lady M says to Dianthus, we are not people who get scared.
That's right.
You know? But, like,
That was a great
Yarrow
moment. That was a good
and
line.
Nortia, who, like, do not see themselves as like strong individuals, right? Who do not see this like need to resist fear. Both of them see it in Dianthus. And I think Nortia to a far lesser extent. I think Yarrow sees it all the time, you know, and sees that like you're strong, but like even in day-to-day instances of like, are you my friend? Yes, you are. We're friends. We're friends. We're friends. We're friends. Are we good? We're good.
We're good, right?
You know,
We're
like
good.
Yeah.
Yarrow's
Let's
always
go.
there to reassure because Dianthus is afraid of a lot of interpersonal things, where I feel like Yarrow is afraid of a lot of external things. And we have one of the silliest little clips
I can't wait to talk about this one.
that. Oh my gosh, it's so good. If you guys want to start at 5:17, y'all ate this one up. Okay. We'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A lot of shit just happened. Is he all there mentally? Debatable, but for that reason, the first thing that he's gonna say is the weirdest thing that he could probably bring up right now. And it is one of those things where he's brushing your face and then he just like grabs a hold of the back of your head. You dropped a chandelier on me.
That's what you're bringing up right now?
Yes.
Out of everything?
Yes.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry, I dropped a chandelier on you. It was not on purpose.
Why did you do it? What were you
Why
thinking?
did I drop a chandelier?
Why did you drop a chandelier
drop it on her, and then, you know, you just didn't move out of the way like the others did.
So you were helping.
I was helping. Yes, that was my idea of helping because I didn't know what else to do.
If that is your idea of helping, then never do that again.
I mean, I was helping with that too, and I think that went a lot better than the chandelier. It's a learning process.
Learning process, right. Sit down, find a bed to lay in. You're not leaving this church tonight.
Okay, fair enough.
And next time that you want to help me by dropping stuff on top of me, don't. You're very lucky that it hit me and only me. That could have killed somebody, Yarrow.
It won't. I know. Okay, I know that now. It won't happen again. It was just a panic in the moment, like survival instincts kind of make you a little stupider.
Yeah, I can tell.
Thanks. Okay.
I don't want the others to know.
But I mean, they might be able to help.
I don't want their help. This is my thing.
Okay.
I'll deal with it my way.
Will you accept my help?
As long as you stay away from chandeliers.
I can do that.
The loves of my life, Mel.
Just kiss on the mouth.
An asshole. I'm so sorry.
He is.
Arlo. I'm so sorry. He's so mean all the time.
It's okay. It's okay.
Can we talk about the look? I don't know if this was on purpose, but the look of hurt in Dianthus's eyes when it was like, I was helping, and like I think Dianthus was assuming I was helping you, and then Yarrow says everyone else moved out of the way, and then it looked like a moment of realization that it wasn't for him. You look crushed in that instant, and then you pick it back up and you're like, well, that's not helpful actually.
And you, building off of that, you're not mean until that moment, right?
Yeah.
You're not mean until that moment. Let's talk about it.
So interesting.
That scene, I'm saying this with my whole chest, the most important conversation they've ever had. I'm saying that full-chested. That is the most important conversation they've ever had, because it is specifically the line, that could have killed someone, implying that early on that it didn't kill him for another reason, that if he had been normal, he could have actually died. And the fear of, had somebody else, Nortia or M or KAAL, been in that same area, they could have died. And because he was caught in that, he couldn't have done anything. It's this fear of like, he doesn't know what his purpose is. He is trying to give himself a purpose, and his purpose is to protect everybody else. And Yarrow trying to do that kind of infringes on that role that he's trying to make himself fit, and that's scary. Because if Yarrow feels that, what's he left with? Nothing.
Owie. Your response?
Yeah. Oh my god.
I think about him frequently.
See, Yarrow didn't even consider that. It was in the moment. We had all just gotten magic. This was brand new, and this is a situation he'd never been in. And Dianthus is like, seems to know what he's doing, very the outer appearance of like, okay, this is a fight. Clearly, they're good at fighting. I'm not a fighter. What can I do in this situation that's not going to immediately put myself in danger, even though, I don't know. He was like, shit, what do I do? Quick thinking, I'm gonna let this happen and help Chandelier. Hopefully people will move. And I don't think it clicked that, yes, someone other than the bad guy could get hurt here. Until Dianthus had said that, and then it was that, oh shit, and feeling like I need to justify why I did this stupid thing. Like, why did I do this? But then there was also that, like, honestly, the gay panic he had when they were touching like his face, and because he's thinking like, okay, we had this sweet moment where you're like healing me, and then you're bringing up this conversation, and it was such like it
was a deflection, baby.
head turn.
It was a deflection.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to talk about the hemlock situation, because that scares the shit out of me. Let's talk about the chandelier. I'm gonna get angry at you now.
Right. And Yarrow was like, okay, you are absolutely correct to be angry at me. That was a stupid thing I did. They're definitely not going to do it again. And the last thing they wanted to do was like hurt anyone in their group. He wants to also, he wants to be a protector, like he sees how M and Dianthus are always out fighting, and Nortia has these quick thinking ideas and is like, he just feels like, okay, how do I become like that? How do I stop being so scared and just start doing things to protect my friends? So I think that'll be interesting also to see kind of like, how he's like, okay, I'm scared as shit right now, but fuck it, I need to do something,
another hot they parallel is Dianthus and Yarrow and Nortia and Lady M have the parallel of Yarrow and Nortia are more than willing to take the hurt that the other two will give them.
Yeah.
But the difference between Nortia and Yarrow is that while Nortia doesn't think she's special, she knows when she's wrong. And Yarrow believes that if somebody says that they are wrong, they are wrong. And it's like very quick for them. Like anytime Yarrow has done anything, because if Yarrow went to Nortia after the chandelier drop, she would have been like, that was brilliant. That was so smart. And it's Dianthus's fault that Dianthus didn't predict that movement. Like that would be
Come on, you can't read his mind?
because you did something that you found the solution that wasn't let me just stab you. It was let me get you away from all these people that you're hurting. Let me drop a chandelier on you, bitch. And like, and to see that like for Yarrow, when Dianthus says like, you did bad, Yarrow's like, yeah, I did bad. But both of them, after this person, their person, you know, like attacks them, they both are like, I want to help you, you know?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that right before Dianthus says, I don't want your help. And then he's going off on his tangent and Yarrow says, you don't want anybody else's help, but can I give you mine? You know? Like, I know you already rejected me, but can I help? It's so good. Caleb, you look like you had something juicy to say.
And just like a subset of what you just said, Sabrina, Yarrow's and like Freckle, you do a good job at like embodying Yarrow's like mannerisms. Like even in moments where you're getting kind of berated, right? The last time that Dianthus brings up the chandelier, you have a moment of like, oh, this isn't about the chandelier. And it makes it to where like that, like, oh, okay, what I did wrong was not necessarily like my quick thinking. It was Dianthus's aggression is showing to not be from a place of like distrust from you, but it just comes out so well in like one of those you're watching these two characters and you're like, oh yeah, no, this is happening. Like this is like it's not the cookie, it's not the chandelier, it's the undertone, it's the fact that they both don't know, right?
Yeah.
Your hand was up at one point. I saw it.
I was just gonna say, what motivates Dianthus to take Yarrow's help when they would accept nobody else's help? And Yarrow, what motivates you to ask after they've so clearly stated they don't want anybody's help? The floor is yours.
I go first a lot. Freckle, you go.
Okay. I think it's because Yarrow sees how much Dianthus helps other people. In their case, you know, Dianthus has been helping Emrys for so long. And Yarrow hasn't done a lot. You know, he's trying to do things, but he doesn't know what the fuck to do with all that. So, I think it's watching Dianthus, you know, in these fights, in these situations, and not, I think they can tell that Dianthus does not want people's help. And you know, I think what was it? In the times where like Yarrow was visiting Emrys and wanting to help, and Dianthus be like, okay, well, either make yourself useful or leave or whatever. But it's never like an actual Dianthus doesn't go like, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Hey, I need help. It's just Yarrow trying to, in his mind, figure out, do they need help right now? If they even needed help, would they ask me? Probably not. So he's trying to decipher, can I just help you with whatever it is? If you don't want it, if you do, I'm gonna just offer it. So it's always on the table, just so you know it's there, just so you're not afraid to ask, you're not afraid to accept it, hopefully. if the time comes that you really need it.
We can't get into it. Season 2's things, but we've talked about that. And the way that ties in directly to something I have talked to you about. Oh! Anyway. Look, okay. The reason Dianthus very lightly accepted Yarrow's help specifically, was because there's a single line that Yarrow says that I fixated on, which was, I feel like, or it was roughly like, I think I did a good job back there. Back there being with Hemlock. Back there being with the memory bullshit. Bringing them back to the present. Yeah, Yarrow kind of accidentally caused it, but Yarrow's also the reason they got back and that nightmare ended. So, it is the fact that Yarrow pointed that out. And it was such a brief mention, but it stuck out in my brain, so it stuck out in Dianthus's of like, Yarrow can help me. They just did. There's proof that they can help me.
Yeah.
In a way that no one else can or has been able to in 100 years. So, gently accepting that help without outright being like, yeah, fine, I trust you. It's like, you don't have full control of your magic thing yet, but once you do, maybe.
I do have something based off of that. Yarrow, I think, recognized when in that moment, during the Hemlock fight, when there were the chains and stuff, and Dianthus was like, being dragged down. I think he recognized that there is this moment that they were scared, and there's a scary thing that Dianthus won't admit to. And so that also adds into the like, well, you're scared and you won't ask for help. Let me help you. I can help. Like, I want to be able to help you.
And that plays back into why he won't accept anyone else's help. Look at what he's dealing with, dude. It's like gods and shit up on the fucking moon. Like, no one else is either gonna believe him or has the power to do anything about this. Bianca was a nightmare. And it took all of us hitting her with a chandelier. She just didn't come back up. She's still out there, walking around. Like, we didn't finish the job. He doesn't think that we can. He fully believes that she's a god. He just can't figure out what kind. It's just, look, the shit he's dealing with, the people that are after him are such massive threats to him, and everyone else around him is just like little guys, as far as he's aware at this point in time. Like, we didn't know about the M-Face stuff at this point. But like, everyone to that point was just like people. Like, normal, mortal people. And he's not gonna put people's lives at risk fighting gods for him. He will deal with it his own way by running away.
Speaking of running away, also, I'd like to apologize to our viewers. Apparently, my internet is being rude and disrespectful, and it's making the visuals a little choppy. However, we can be heard very fine, and these are very intellectual.
For the viewers, no need to worry because this is being recorded, and it's going to go up on Saturday on the YouTube channel and the podcast. So even if you want to see our fun expressions and faces, you can rewatch stuff Saturday. So it'll be good. Yeah. It's all good.
But I want to go to our next clip because emotionally, Dianthus is always sprinting.
True.
Wow.
So true.
And we see that really well in this clip. And don't ask us about the blurred out section. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go to 7:31. Press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You saw that memory of mine. What do you think of me now?
I think you're Dianthus. I consider you a friend, though I don't know if you would think the same of me, but
I thought that death was something that followed me. And I'm now starting to think it is more than that. That it is a part of me. And that can be dangerous.
I mean, sure, but seems like there's danger everywhere.
Does it scare you? Do I scare
I
you?
mean, no. I mean, you brought me back from death.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
so normal. I'm so normal.
What?
Yeah? Yeah?
Excuse me? I just here's the thing, and here's why I find you rude and disrespectful. Do I scare you?
Mm-hmm.
Is such like it's such a knife, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's we don't see Dianthus vying for attention. Dianthus doesn't give a lot of emotional bids in any of his relationships in the show. And that is the biggest bid for Dianthus to give. Because Dianthus thinks that they are the scariest motherfucker. You know?
They are trying to be the scariest motherfucker.
Yeah.
But it's
And
also an out.
It
It's
is.
the double side. So it's like, I'm trying to be scary, but if you are also scared of me, you're just like everybody else, and I am valid in pushing everyone away.
That's
So
right.
we're good.
Yeah, yeah.
My question is, why Dianthus? Why does Dianthus care? Why does Dianthus want the answer to this question? Why did you ask this question? If you want everyone to be afraid of you, why did you ask Yarrow? Is because you like Yarrow and want to kiss him on the face? Is it
No, oh
Oh my
God.
god. Pleading the fifth. I think at this point in time, because again, Dianthus did not have the gay awakening until the moon. At this point in time, they are not aware why they care so much. It's an excellent question. They wouldn't be able to answer it because they don't know why they care so much about whether or not Yarrow is scared of them. They're expecting the answer to be, well, yeah, look at you. And it's not. It's a very simple, blunt. It's the bluntest Yarrow's ever been of no. Like, huh? What do you mean? Are you okay? Are you feeling
no
that?
hesitation, too.
No hesitation.
No
Yeah.
hesitation.
Oh,
I think too
No.
that caught him so off guard because he was thinking, oh yeah, scared of like the things that are following you, this whole situation. Yeah, it's all scary. And then they threw in that, are you scared of me? And it was an absolute like, absolutely not. I think when like they first met, a little bit, but yeah, no, he's like, you've been the one like trying to protect us and shit. Like,
Yeah.
why would I be scared of the person who is, putting their life on the line to help me and bring me back from the dead and, this whole group, Scary, scary mean people don't do that.
Hot Day Parallel Alert!
Oh,
Dianthus
yeah?
and Lady M. Both do this, though. They both
Mhm.
have the I'm scary, be scared of me.
Yeah.
But they also both have those moments in season 1 of please tell me that you love me even though you're seeing the scariest parts of me. Show me that I am worthy of this love. And with Dianthus, whether he wants to admit it or not, it's romantic love, and with Lady M, it's platonic love. But both of them value those loves so much, and we can see it in those instances, right? Because Dianthus never says to, like, Nortia, when Nortia's like, can I help you? Like, are you okay? Dianthus isn't like, should you be scared of me, bitch? You, like, aren't you scared of me? Dianthus doesn't ask Nortia that. Just
Not yet.
like Lady M doesn't ask or doesn't like show Yarrow their scars,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Like both of them have this person that they trust and that they love and that they see the good in. They see good in them and they also see power, which is something we got to do in our little reshoot the other day, which I thought was a beautiful moment because that's like
So
the
good.
biggest thing about this group is every single person sees something in every other member of the party that party member does not see in themselves, and it's because it's the way that they connect to them. Like, Lady M and
Totally.
Dianthus see Nortia and Yarrow's power, pure power that, like, they don't understand yet. And Nortia and Yarrow see that there is pure good and safety in these people who think that they're unsafe for others. And, like, Nortia sees in Yarrow, like, you are a good and selfless person. And I know this. And that's what, like, how their relationship ended at the end of the season, with the note of, like, I will not vote for Yarrow because I know that Yarrow will vote for himself. You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
I think, not to go off track, but I think that's so interesting between Noria and Yarrow, and I can't wait for them to talk about that at some point and like those decisions.
Speaking of decisions, we decided to talk your guys' ears off. So we're gonna take a short little break, and then we will come back to this section and see Dianthus go to the moon, and Freckle almost start bawling. So we will be back in. Does 5 work for everybody?
Yeah, that
Okay,
works.
we will be back in
Sure.
5.
I'm gonna
Love
try
you
and
guys.
fix my light situation.
Hiya, howdy. Why did I move? Go back to where you were. Everybody's in frame currently, and in case you've missed the first half, we know that there's some visual stuff happening right now. I'm so sorry. I'm just a little guy. Actually, it looks like my internet's not that bad right now, so maybe there's not.
Don't jinx yourself.
Oh, knocking on wood. But this is the TCAP, the Strange Guild recap show, where we recap little things that we love. And right now, we're talking about the little gay guys, Dianthus and Yarrow. Where we left off is in our second part, and we are going to watch a clip that is going to shatter you all. So be prepared. This clip is near and dear to my heart, and by that I mean it breaks my heart every time I see it. We're gonna start at 8:40. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
And the ivory man stands in front of you and he's like, I told you you're not going to like this.
Where are we?
You are safe, but trust me, this was the only way.
What are you talking about?
As he kind of turns into like a dust, that perception check was to see who else was in this space. And you realize that standing with their hand on your chest is Hemlock. And she's holding you and picks you up. Her fingers break through your armor and grab your tunic and lift you up. Yarrow, you see Dianthus in front of you, and Emrys kind of goes ahead before you can like stop him. And a single shard of crystal appears in Hemlock's hand and very lightly cuts your cheek, which is fine for a moment. But then, Yarrow, the same way that you saw Phineas, Dianthus turns into dark black rose petals, and a cyclone of dust and glitter. And Yarrow, you hear the man that saved Dianthus in your ear, and he says, I'm sorry. This was the only way.
What did you do?
Disrespectful, bro.
Disrespectful. Disrespectful.
rude.
ask
Run!
Caleb really quick? Why do you like hurting us?
Explain yourself.
So here's the thing. Sometimes I enter a session and I'm like, these are certain things that might happen, right? Like certain points. But sometimes, usually, someone has a really good line that either goes unnoticed or slightly derails what I was planning. And I'm like, oh, this is going to hurt. And then I do it. And that's why it's a good story.
It's a good story.
And it shows like the parallels, right? I don't plan a parallel, right? I'm not Nortia's this, Yarrow's this. This is what's gonna happen. This is what's it feels organic. And so with that scene specifically, Icarus and I had talked about
Yep.
like
Mm-hmm.
giving Dianthus something to like grapple with that wasn't like that basically forced them to get out of their home, out of the basement, and I took that a step further. And also, Icarus had said something before the break a couple times about how, like, oh, Dianthus didn't know until the moon. The moon to me was like summer camp, where all of these questions that you don't address during the school year, you put off until you're going to be around people that you'll never see again. And that's what I was doing in a way that hurt initially, but was going to provide for a more rounded and essentially nice outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so I could be nice without being too nice.
Yes.
Right.
I see you. I hear you. Still disrespectful. Freckle. Question.
Yes, hit me with
In
it.
that moment, like, you had already gone through a lot to try and save Dianthus at this point, and Dianthus wasn't even gone, They were just gone from you, like, from your sight. And watching him get hurt like that, watching him leave, and seeing somebody who you thought was an ally to Dianthus in that moment not doing anything to stop it, like, what was going through Yarrow's head?
It was just a lot of pain and disbelief, I think. I think he was just trying to process, like, oh my God, what just happened? There's no way that just happened. I did not just see this. Um, and that absolute fear of like, oh my God, they're dead. That's it. Like they're gone. But I know he can, I think what I had him do was like he looked at the little threads or whatever and it went to the little scrying glass or something. So he's like, all right, you're not dead. Great. But yeah, I think that was very hard for him having a person that you care about and you're trying to help and who's been helping you just like be ripped away like that. Um and yeah, I don't know. I think about that little silly moment a lot. That was rough for him. He was going through like the 5 stages of grief.
I
That
think
poor little
I
guy.
would love to bring up a fun little parallel, if I may.
Hot day parallel alert!
We love
parallels.
I guess it's more of a question for dearest Betty and dearest Caleb. Given that M and KAAL were separated in the exact same way, how are they both, either were they or are they still grappling with the fact that yes, KAAL also went to summer camp and spent a long time away from M, because it was also 6 months for him.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Bestie, you can go first.
So this is going to seem like a little bit of a cop-out, but
Boo!
Come on!
But, I told all my players when we started this campaign that I was not going to be the one to be like, this is who you date, and you have to be in a monogamous relationship by the end of season 1, right? And
in fact, everybody got a love triangle at the end of season 1.
And that was the thing, right? I was like, the events of, what's been happening so far have been happening so fast that initially in my DM notes, I did not plan on KAAL getting sent there as well. However, Dianthus alone could have been very interesting. However, the battle shook up in a way where I was like, I am presenting a homebrew mechanic that I don't want to punish my player with. However, they're not rolling very well. And how can I present a story aspect that can be dealt with later? And so when Dinah tried to do the same thing to M that was done to Dianthus, that moment of redirection, like y'all were level, was it level 3 at the time?
3 or
It
4,
was
maybe.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the implication was that this was a power that your character wasn't ready for.
Mhm.
But on the relationship aspect, M was just getting close. Like
Yeah.
M was a lot closer to her moment, in my opinion, than Dianthus was to theirs. So I was like, if I push it to Dianthus and forego that interaction for Lady M, how does that change the dynamic
Yeah.
of these love triangles? So kind of a cop out, but that was the DM's
Behind
justification.
the screen. Yeah.
I would say for this is a similarity between M and Dianthus that is really or excuse me, a difference that's really striking to me is when these feelings started for Dianthus, it was like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way you play it seems like it's like confusion,
Yeah,
right? It's like,
yeah.
what is this?
Yep.
What
What
I
the fuck
need to
is
hold
going
on to this?
Am I sick?
Which I notice a lot in the moment where you're talking to it brings out vulnerability in Dianthus that isn't normally there,
Yes,
right? Like, are you
yes.
scared of me? Do I scare you? Like, that's a kind of vulnerability that Dianthus would not show, but it's
Right.
because they're investigating, right? Like, they want to know the answer, right? They're like, what's going on here? Why do I feel these things? Whereas M is the opposite, right? She feels things and they don't confuse her. She feels them like her feelings and emotions come to her with such clarity that it's like painful, right? So that's why she tampers everything down, is because she's like, it hurts to feel this way because because she's like, it'll never last, or like, blah, 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 whatever tragic thing that is tagged on to the end of that sentence. And so for the moon, right, her instant response when Nortia was like, came back with the knife, is she was like, they're dead, because she saw them disappear and turn to dust in front of her. So it was like, for M, again, like the emotion of grief came to her so clearly, so quickly, that I don't think she really gave herself time to process any other option.
Yeah.
But once it did become clear that they were not dead, it was just anger. Like, she was just angry. And so upon their return, I feel like she's gonna be grappling with a lot of that anger at herself, at Nortia, but she doesn't know where to place that because she knows it isn't Nortia's fault, but she's still mad about it because she can't let anything go ever. Like at Dianthus and KAAL for going away in the first place,
Right.
even though it also wasn't their fault. Like, she just has a lot of anger that she doesn't know where to place it all or who deserves it. But I think mostly she's angry at herself because she let it happen. She was literally there. She saw, like, you know what I mean? So I think for her it's more internal, whereas for Dianthus it feels more inquisitive, if that makes sense. Which I think is interesting between the two. Yeah.
I want to bring up another beautiful parallel, but to do so, we need to watch this next clip. So, hot day parallel alert after this clip. Let's start at 10:27. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A man with long black hair and ivory skin is walking, elbows linked, with Emrys.
How is Dianthus doing it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out, so I brought him to him, and then I don't know. I can't do anything.
I'm going to be honest with you. Because although it may hurt, it is the kindest thing that I can do. He's gone.
What's the point of having the magic if I can't even
You feel that last squeeze of your hand as you come out of your trance and you realize that it is raining. And you can't quite explain it, but you know that Yarrow is crying at this moment.
Caleb. God.
Retweet on
That one hurt.
Caleb.
The Hate parallel, I would like to point out, is actually a Yarrow and a Lady M parallel. And that is both of them watched their friend turn to dust right in front of them. The extra bit of that is afterwards, Yarrow watched their brother die.
Yeah!
Something that they have been trying to avoid happening for years. And the difference between the two is both of them are then faced with Nortia, who is an optimistic person, but an intelligent person, and is trying to connect the dots for them. And the way that Yarrow reacts to that is, why can't I do anything? Why can't I save the people that I care about? If I'm given magic, what's the point if I can't do anything with it? And Lady M's initial reaction, which Nortia sees right through, is, it's your fault. You destroyed the thing that connects this. You killed them, you know? Because she can't grapple with the fact that she wasn't able to do something. Both of them are struggling with the idea of they have this power, but it's useless to save the people they care about. And I think the really beautiful thing, even though it makes me want to box you, Caleb, that you did there is having, like, both of their people be able to see that they're hurting, you know? And, like, the difference with Lady M and Nortia's interaction is Nortia was able to be like, I'm here and I will give you whatever hope you need. And Dianthus was able to do nothing. Couldn't communicate with Yarrow in any sort of way, which I think is tragic and beautiful because, like, they are so good at communicating with each other. Even though they don't tell the whole truth all the time, they both are always able to say, I'm here for you. I will save you. And in this instant, Dianthus is not able to say that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And there's nothing that they can do. Like you said, the whole point of bringing Emrys to me was to make sure that he stayed alive. Like, that was the whole point. That was my purpose for the last 5 years, just keeping this weird guy alive and letting Yarrow take the time to figure out what's going on with him to fix him. And he's not even there to stop that from failing. Emrys is dead. Emrys is walking with death. They have seen that. They are going down the same path Dianthus has gone down, and they can do nothing to stop it. They can ask Death, hey, pretty please, don't do that. Pretty please. Pretty please. But law of nature, it's going to happen if it's going to happen. There is nothing right now, Dianthus, he could spare the dying if he had the physical body. But he doesn't. Because he's on the moon, because of bitch-ass Dinah. And that's, you know what? Fuck off, you know? I hate that bitch so much.
I do want to add that is something where, Sabrina, I love how you summed that up, but it's something that as the DM, I'll present something, be like, and this is because of something I have planned later on down the line, without realizing like how heavy it's going to hit in the moment. And this is a slight teaser for season 2, but it does point to the fact that like Dianthus doesn't, or I should say Icarus may not know how crucial Dianthus was to keeping Emrys alive that whole time. because Emrys always seemed fine, right? Like even when, they were struggling to like come back, you thought, or Dianthus probably thought, because of, your medicine and Yarrow's research, that it was going, but like you were, with all that's happening with death in the background, you were keeping Emrys there. So by losing Dianthus, like that magic and that spoilers thing, but like the thing that I'm not saying right now, that connection with death was what kept Emrys there, and why when Dianthus came back, Emrys was able to return at the end of season
So
1.
fucked.
That's
We love learning
fascinating.
things. We love learning things about
Yeah.
characters. Oh my god.
Insane.
I think that also brings up a slight tangent, but I gotta say it. The really cool difference between Dianthus and Nortia, and the idea
Let's talk
of
about
what
him.
is saving somebody.
Mm.
Because Dianthus pulls Emrys out because he promises to save Emrys for Yarrow. But to Nortia, she saw the suffering, and she saw that on this other plane, he wasn't suffering anymore, and to her, that's saving him.
It's so interesting you say
That's
that.
so interesting.
I guess spoiler for like the last episode of season 1. Dianthus actually did vote for Emrys to stay as a guardian because he realized that. He said, I'm gonna vote for him to be the one of daow'vern because at least Yarrow can come to this temple and still talk to his brother. But he also came to realize, like, yes, this guardian thing is like a guaranteed way to make it so that Emrys is not suffering anymore because he felt like he failed. And he did. Technically, he did fail. He failed Yarrow. Emrys died. That was the one thing he promised it wouldn't happen, and it happened. So fuck it. The next step is healing Emrys. There's a clear answer here. So he voted for Emrys, and he felt so horrible about it.
That breaks my little heart.
Yes?
Only thing I want to add to this is it's like, on the topic of like saving people, etc., etc. I think you said something that I really want to highlight is you're talking about Dianthus' search for a purpose.
Yeah.
And his purpose was Emrys. That was his purpose, was taking care of Emrys. And in the way Yarrow is so gentle with Dianthus, I think as a viewer that Yarrow saw that taking care of Emrys gave him purpose. Is that true or false?
We have discussed this in depth. You and
Have
I.
you?
Oh, in depth we have in the DMs. We've got novels in there at this fucking point. Okay.
There are paragraphs.
Paragraphs. Short and sweet. Point of it is, Dianthus is currently going into season 2 terrified that Yarrow is going to want nothing to do with him because Emrys is healed at this point.
Girl.
He's healed. Emrys is good now, as far as
And
we
that's
can
what he's
tell.
been doing. That's what he thinks Yarrow, needs him for.
That's why he thought Yarrow kept him around, is because of Emrys. And now that Emrys is fixed, more or less, that purpose is
Bestie.
gone. So would Yarrow want to stick around him?
Have I got news for you?
I got news for you.
They want to kiss you, you idiot! No, but I think that also makes that conversation when they're about to vote even more interesting, because Dianthus is like, my purpose, this is what I'm supposed to do, and Nortia's like, says who?
I don't want to get into it, but like, you gotta understand, you saved his ass when you said if it was fate, you wouldn't have a choice. You saved him from voting for himself. You saved his fucking life, Nortia, and we're gonna have discussions in season 2. Oh, I'm locking him in a room.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because, like, when you were saying that, like, I have like this little sheet I sent Caleb, and it's all of Nortia's beliefs, on these different topics, right? And one of them is fate. And Nortia believes that there are gods, there are things that push people towards certain directions. She believes that there are, like, good and bad poles, right? And that some people are unlucky and that the things are not in their favor. But she does not believe that there's one path for somebody, you know? And so, like, to hear that, especially when she sees, like, how Yarrow sees you, right? Like, she knows that you are more than death. And, like, she wanted you to see that in that moment, too.
That's
you
so
know?
fascinating. That's so good. Oh, they are opposite in that. They are very much opposite. Dianthus thinks that there's a single purpose. Death brought him back, and they're just waiting to tell him why. It's so funny, silly stupid. I'll know when it's time. I'll know when it's time to know why I was brought back. But there was only one purpose, and I will find out why.
Well, I think the beauty is, like, when, at least for Nortia, and, like, for me in life, hot day parallels, is that for me and for Nortia, it's so easy to see what other people see in the people that they love when you love them. And Nortia doesn't tell Yarrow this often, and they haven't interacted as much. But the second she met Yarrow, she saw the good and trusted Yarrow, you know? That's why she immediately tells Yarrow Lady M's secret, right? Like, she trusts him, and she sees that Yarrow trusts and loves Dianthus, and that somebody that with that amount of good capacity in their heart, like, there's no way that Dianthus can be bad, or at least not all bad.
We
So
talked about this, Freckle.
That feeling is absolutely reciprocated. Sorry, what was that?
I'm trying to think of, like, the exact words you use. That's like when they view Dianthus as, like, people avoid them. Like, they aren't lonely on purpose. People avoid them.
Right. It's a difference. I think if I'm thinking what you're thinking,
I
maybe.
think so.
It was Dianthus like isolated himself because like other people, think he's
Yeah.
scary or whatever, this and that. And Yara more so isolated because of like I have to focus on this thing. I need to like I can't get distracted. It's more of a chosen isolation and I feel like I have to isolate myself kind of situation. And so yeah, I think it's interesting. And to bounce back on what I was saying, I think back to Nordia real quick, Yarrow absolutely reciprocates that. He is like sees such a good and powerful person in Nordia. And so when Nordia like told him like, Emrys is gone, stuff like that I think hits a little harder coming from her than it would have like other people. Um and so yeah, he just shit hurts.
It hurts.
my freaking heart, man. Speaking of my freaking heart, this next section we were about to go into, and I will protect you from everything that scares you. These two little gay guys,
Kiss on the mouth. Kiss on the mouth.
right now. No matter where they are, they like, it's like you can feel them yearning for each other even when they're not in the same room, and you can feel how badly they want to protect each other. And I think that this next clip really shows how badly Dianthus wants to protect Yarrow. So let's start at 11:57.
Whoa.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, then I will tell you to do something that is in your power. When we get home, you will wipe Yarrow's slate clean, because the man that he murdered is standing right behind me. So there was no murder. You will wipe his slate clean. He will be a free man again. And it will come from your mouth. And if you deny that to me now, I do not need you. I will slit your throat here.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
I forget about that scene a lot. That's one of those, like, I blacked out. I don't remember doing that.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's for extra context for our viewers and listeners. This is a person that Dianthus would kill on the spot.
Yeah.
Like, especially on a plane that nobody's really gonna know that Dianthus did it in the first place. That bitch be dead. Except
I've used for
they're the only way that Yarrow's name can get cleared. And like Dianthus gives up this need for revenge, which seems so strong in Dianthus a lot of the times because he cares so much about Yarrow. And I want to know, Icarus,
Hello.
what do you feel like sets that for Dianthus? You know, what do you feel like sets the need for revenge, and what do you feel like makes him not need it when it's protecting Yarrow?
Oh, what a fun concept. I don't think it's revenge doesn't drive them. The parallels between he holds grudges. He holds grudges for very long because he's lived for so long. Dinah is an interesting little number because, I mean, technically, he betrayed her. He just didn't realize that. He didn't know he cut off her dad's arm, okay? He wasn't aware that was her dad. At the point in time, and I still don't think he knows it was her dad, but at that point in time, it was like, dude came at me with a sword, I cut his arm off, what did you want me to do? And she turned against him. It was like the one person that he was like, you healed me up, you pulled me out of the fire, you're a good cookie, and then she turned her back on him. So for years, she's also held a grudge against him. They butt heads a lot. So it is not so much that he wanted revenge on her, he just straight up doesn't like that bitch. And feels like life would be a lot easier if she wasn't here, if she wasn't involved. But she is also the reason he's up on that moon right now, you know? Like, she's the reason also KAAL's up there. That's how he learns about KAAL and Donna. They're up on that moon because of Dinah. And they kind of needed her to get off the moon, but additionally, yes, when they got to that gate, he was straight up, I'll kill you right now. Like, we're 2 steps from home, and I won't let you walk through that door if you tell me you're not going to do this solid for me. I will keep you breathing until I don't need you anymore. It was very, very important that he make sure Yarrow get his name cleared, because he knows Yarrow did not kill somebody. Like, straight up, Yarrow couldn't do that. But that's not what the public's going to care about. The public has already made an opinion. The only way to make that opinion go away is for somebody of high authority to, clear the slate. So that's where Dinah comes in. It's protecting Yarrow. Needs to make sure Yarrow is going to stay safe, because again, they know what it's like for a community to turn on him and to run them out of town. It's an island, it's a big island, but it's still an island. There's only so many places Yarrow could go. And if a mob really wants him dead, they will hunt them down no matter where they go. They're aware of that. They don't want that to happen. So if it means putting up with this bitch for another 100 years, he'll put up with her. If it means that Yarrow can live a peaceful life.
And where, as the DM, I'm being very mean with the parallel, is while you have that conversation, I can't remember if it was right before or right after, I established to the rest of the group that Dinah doesn't have that power anymore.
It was right
after.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I've done with the way that circumstance is thrown to your characters is not knowing where the power comes from, right? Mm-hmm. That comes from your magic, that comes from the love, that comes from the circumstance. And so where it's especially tragic is, I don't want to spoil the very end of season 1. But Dianthus, you failed again.
Yeah. Yep.
And how is that going to impact your relationship with Yarrow and all that stuff? So it's going to be interesting. Season 2.
He's doing so much to protect this little guy, and he's fucking it up every step of the way.
No, Betty, you first.
Best
I already asked my
Betty
question
goes.
first.
I was gonna say, for Freckle, has Yarrow ever seen Dianthus behave that way? Number 1. And would the answer to the question, do I scare you, would that answer still be the same if you had seen Dianthus say that? If Yarrow had seen that scene, what would Yarrow think of that?
I think while thinking it was maybe a little unnecessary to threaten her, um, you know, they're kind of more of a, if we can talk it out, we can talk it out. If we can't talk it out, then we can explore other options. But um but yeah, I don't think it would have necessarily changed the way he sees Dianthus. I think it would have changed more so the way that he sees Dianthus thinking of him. Just so like, oh, you care about me enough to go that far, um,
I
to
love that
threaten
answer.
this lady. So
It is very like,
that would
was
be
it like acts
interesting.
of service love type? Like
Yeah,
that's
yes,
Dianthus'
yes.
act of service. That's
Very,
how he's
very
gonna show that he
much.
cares about somebody. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
love it.
I just thought of a really funny joke in my head, and it is a t-shirt where it says, on a sliding scale from Nortia to Dianthus, how much do you crave death? And then it has Nortia at one end and Dianthus at the other. And then the character.
Oh my God.
How much do you crave death?
That's so good. That'd be so funny. Add it to the list.
I love it. I love it.
Just a picture of death on the back, just full on, like,
Something that I love so much about these two freaking little guys is their ability to comfort each other by just existing. And we'll see that in this next clip. That you're gonna start at 12:41.
I forgot about this.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna kneel in front of you. This is post checking you over. I'm gonna grab you by your fucking chin, you weird little purple man.
Hello.
I am keeping you away from every body of water on this island.
There was Dinah, and you got stabbed and dust, and you were gone. I don't go near any sharp objects or Lady Dinah, please.
I wasn't planning on it. Are you alright?
Now I am.
Good.
Are you okay?
I am now. Okay. The way they both said, I'm okay now? Okay. Alright. Okay.
Crazy.
Crazy. Nuts.
So funny.
I hate them so much.
So what did you mean by that,
What did you
baby?
mean?
You want to tell us?
Yarrow is safe. They're not panicking anymore. So now they are okay.
Mhm.
They have Yarrow physically here again. Perfect.
Right. And Yarrow, like I said before, Dianthus is a familiar person. I've known, they've known them for a long while. And so yeah, just having them there, it's like, okay, a little more comfort in these horrible situations.
Do you think
I
that
find
they
myself.
understand that? Do you think that they like recognize that like their heart steadies when the other person's there? Or like is it for some odd reason, I feel a lot better now.
This is so weird. I don't have a heartbeat, so my heart doesn't do nothing. But
What?
I do think Dianthus is more, I don't want to say calm. They're never calm. They're more aware and alert when Yarrow's around. And when Yarrow is not around, they are worried about where Yarrow is, and therefore not alert at all about their surroundings.
Because Yarrow's usually off getting into trouble accidentally.
Troublemaker is your nickname for season 2. Get ready for that.
Bring it on.
Said the one who went to the moon.
Yeah.
My fault. Well, my fault. That was Hemlock. That was Hemlock, baby.
You don't know that.
Oh,
Stop it.
Interesting.
stop it.
Stop it. Stop it.
Freckle.
In Yarrow's case, I think it took a while, but I think at this point it is acknowledged in their head about like, okay, yeah, if Dianthus is around, I feel a little better, you know? Like, isn't that funny? But we're such good friends, you know? He's such a trustworthy person who like helps me out a lot and gets me out of dangerous situations. Like, why wouldn't I feel more comfortable when he's around?
Nuts. Nuts. I hate them.
Nuts.
I hate them so much.
Insanity.
Yes.
Is there any element, do you think, of like, because I imagine every single time y'all have one of these scenes, it's like Dianthus is looking over Yarrow or whatever, and then there's a moment where they make eye contact and it's like,
Ha!
right, like there's that moment every single time they look at each other. I feel like in my brain when I'm like watching the film that is our campaign, I see that. Do you think, one, that moment exists, or am I projecting? And two, do you think, because there totally is an element of softness, like when Dianthus heals other people, Dianthus is like, you're healed.
Yeah.
Go on out there, champ,
Whoa.
right? Right. And Yarrow's always overpouring with gratitude whenever anyone does anything for them. But there's just like an added layer that I feel like everyone else can see, but the two of them are like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Never.
That is, I might be making up, but also I don't think I am.
You have no idea how much I'm holding back. Every one of these scenes. Listen.
You just want to kiss him, don't you?
So bad. So bad.
These two are absolutely feral for each other. Prove me otherwise, babes.
We had to make like a fucking blood pact. Like, no confessions, no kissing all of season 2. Agreed? Agreed. We had to make that.
No!
We had to
All
do-
of season 2?
All of season 2, baby.
You guys are disrespectful.
Tee-hee. We hate and love
Don't
the gays.
tee-hee me.
So you hate me.
Literally, I will wait my whole life for these two little gay guys to kiss.
I
Watching
just want...
Freckles' face right now is so funny because Icarus is like, "Oh, we had to do it," and Freckles like,
Don't!
Listen, it was difficult when you were like, "Hey,
We
pact,"
have
and I was
to
like,
do it. I know how we are. And if we
Right.
don't make this pact episode 1, we're gonna, like, make them piss. We have to hold back.
We have to hold back.
The whole season, give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want, and by the people, I mean me. Give me what I want.
"Oh my
Kids.
god, I don't think."
but also you don't know what's gonna happen in season 2. There might be a moment.
We'll discuss.
I am playing the most emotionally repressed character I've ever made in my life. You think I will let a moment pass and let everybody scream and cry and scream and throw up? I will. I will.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. They started off friends. Sorry. But I would like to point out that Yarrow now, like when they figure out the kiss, is going to think that Dianthus does not have feelings for them, and that might be just enough to push Yarrow to move on. You know,
I have thought about this
especially because
so much.
everybody be hitting on Yarrow, and maybe now that Lady M said this is what flirting is, and Yarrow is recognizing it in other places, is recognizing it when Gunner's trying to flirt with Nortia, when all that kind of stuff, right? Like, is this season going to be, I've waited my whole life for you, and I will wait no more, you know? Like,
Oh, I have thought about things. Caleb, do you want to go first?
No, that's not.
Okay.
No, I'm just responding.
Quick back to what Betty had said. I do think Yarrow, though, looks at Dianthus a certain way, like softer. Anyways,
Yes.
but he's not going to do anything
His
about it.
gaze softened,
Yes,
that
thank you.
fucking trend.
Yes,
Gaze
yes, that-
softened. Yeah.
His
Yeah.
gaze.
these two gays.
Back to I think when Yarrow finds out, it is this. Even after Lydium's little comment about flirting with you, there was maybe that little hint of, okay, well, maybe I don't know. I think when they learn about that kiss, it is going to be I need to back off. Any sort of thing I'm giving off, I don't want to get in the middle of that. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I'm going to just mind my own business and not, you know, step on any toes over there. So I think Yarrow's always very afraid of how people are gonna feel based on what he does and stuff. So it's yeah, I think there will be this bit of them kind of taking a little bit of a step back potentially when they learn about that. Um, and so we'll see. We'll
And,
see. Because
like, I hate them so much because with the KAAL kiss, now Dianthus is like, I gotta take this shit fucking slow. Like, I gotta go slow, which means that they are also inadvertently taking a step back. Because, like, if I go too fast and it's not right, like, I don't want to fuck this up for Yarrow. I really don't. And also, I'm dead. So, like, they kind of deserve somebody who has a beating heart, but regardless, they are both like, okay, let's take a step back and evaluate. And also, if anyone looks at Yarrow and, like, blinks their eyes and twirls their hair, I'm gonna cut their fucking head off. Like, you know?
But they're not gonna admit that they're jealous. No, never.
Out of the fucking roof, I'm telling you. If anyone looks, I know there's a ball episode on the way. If anyone dances with Yarrow, it's game over, dude. I'm gonna go salt.
Hey.
Caleb, write that down. Caleb, write that down. Can I dance with someone?
I think. Okay, don't hate me, Icarus. I love you so much. Yarrow and Nortia definitely are going to talk more now that they see each other, you know? And if Yarrow asks for Nortia's advice, it's not going in your favor.
Oh my
shit hurt. Make it
like to Nortia, because you know she has her dads. Y'all have seen how in love those two are, right? And Nortia even says, because to Nortia it's kind of like love is one of the only things she sees in black and white, you know? Like love and death are the two things that she sees in black and white. And love is when you love somebody, you love them fully, you know, and you don't run to somebody else because they're gone for a second, you know? And I think Nortia would tell Yarrow, like, you deserve more than that. Even if they do have feelings for you, like, you would have waited years on the moon for Dianthus, and they couldn't even wait 6 months. So
Dianthus agrees with you! Dianthus agrees with you!
A little corner pops up, Dianthus approves.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. That's so interesting to think about. And then so I guess like if anyone asks like Lady M's opinion, what would she say about that? What would her advice be?
About Dianthus and Yarrow?
Yeah, like knowing the KAAL kiss and
I would say knowing what she knows now, so not knowing about the kiss, she wants to know that someone like herself, i.e. Dianthus, can be loved by someone good, i.e. Yarrow. And so I think she would be for it, but in the selfish reason that she wants to be proven wrong about, right? So I would say she'd be like, sure, go ahead. Love death incarnate. See what happens. And then they'd work out and she'd be like,
shit.
Hey, yo. But if she knew about the kiss, she would say go for it and be so encouraging and enthusiastic because she wants KAAL.
Yeah!
So she'd be like, yes.
Oh,
She'd be
that
like,
is interesting.
absolutely.
Oh, another thing for Lady M and Nortia to argue about.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean,
you be selfish.
Yes, there's like Lady M is not a good person. Like she's selfish and manipulative, and like that's how she has gotten to where she is in life, right? So if she knew about the kiss, she would do everything in her power to get Dianthus and Yarrow together to have KAAL to herself.
Here's the
Which
thing, though,
is
Fascinating.
if Nortia ever figured that out, she'd say the same thing to you that she said to Yarrow. KAAL should have waited for you.
True.
I kissed KAAL.
Like,
I'm the one.
Yeah,
True.
but he could have pushed you off.
Oh, that's true.
He
And he
could have
did
said
not.
no,
He
and
went-
he instigated. You know,
He went,
like we don't know that KAAL instigated a lot of things, but like
That's
KAAL
true. Actually, you're
was
right.
flirting,
KAAL was naked under that waterfall.
and KAAL said,
knowing fully, yeah.
Nortia sees like KAAL say like, "Are you worried about
Stop
me?"
it.
Like, dude, like he was
Dude.
begging to be kissed.
He was asking to be smooched on the face. Yeah.
Like, and
yeah.
Nortia would be like, one, you're being selfish, which is okay sometimes.
Which is true.
But that is your friend, and we are not selfish when it comes to our friends, Lady M.
Well, it would also be right because it's selfish, but it's also Lady M knows they'd be happy together, right? If it was like Yarrow and Zehan, Lady M would be like, hell yeah,
Anyone
tap
with
that.
Zehan.
Like,
Lady M
absolutely
would be like,
not.
no,
100%.
I don't want to.
But I think
No way.
Nortia would be like, you both deserve
Yeah.
better.
Says the
Get
girl
better.
in her own
Get better.
triangle.
Listen, Nortia's not in love with either of them right now. Nortia has like feelings, but to Nortia, like when you love somebody, you love that one person, which is a very like kind of closed-minded thing. And I think like I would love to see a conversation where she's like, Dad, Father, hey,
Hello.
you know how you only have loved each other, they're the only people who've ever loved each other, and like to hear like that's not true, that people can have more than one love in their life, and that's what like makes it beautiful, is that there were plenty of options, but we chose each other, we choose each other,
Right.
yeah.
I love that.
Like, I think that's something that Nortia also needs to understand, because in her head, all she sees is fairy tale stars. All she sees is meant to be. And, like, she's had not relationships in the past, but, like, she's had love interests in the past that she says no to being in relationships with because she's not in love with them. Like, that is the bare minimum for her,
Betty had a eureka moment.
That calls back to if it was fate, you wouldn't have a choice.
Hey!
Nortia is proving herself wrong in that moment, where it's like love is not fated. You do have a choice, right? But exactly like you said, that's what makes it magical. And I think that translates to Dianthus and Yarrow in that they both have so many choices. Dianthus could just hold themselves up forever, or XYZ, leave, like they don't have to stay there, right? Yarrow, everyone's fawning over Yarrow, they could have their pick of the crop, but they keep coming back to each other. And I think that is beautiful.
And also, to Sabrina's point about Nortia seeing things in black and white, something that I do a lot in scene transitions is once someone figures something out, I propose, as the DM, but also as, you're also playing at the table. I'm presenting something that directly contradicts that. Like, Dianthus and KAAL were like, literally, they had an ego death moment when they rode on the stallion and stuff. So, like, their worldviews were momentarily, like, destroyed. And then, like, with Nortia, there's moments where it's like you're so sure of things. And we talked about this with, like, the Cash Die Gunner thing, where it's like, oh, well, then this is how it is. And then Gunner provides nuance. And then, maybe in season 2, KAAL or Dianthus, or, I have a couple different ways that might come out. But, nuance and the gray in black and white things makes for, questions.
Speaking of waiting, of
God
being there for
damn it.
somebody, of choosing somebody, I would like to tell you that if we are ever a famous show and Watch Mojo does a top 10 countdown, this will be at number 1 for lines from season 1. I don't want to explain it anymore. Y'all, it's too good. Okay, here we go. Uh, go from 1334. In 3, 2, 1, play.
But so it's like that. Like I have you around the waist and it's face to face. Hi. Sorry I'm late.
It's okay. I would have waited.
Barking.
Don't look at our recommended.
Throwing up, don't look at the recommended.
I
Barking,
would have
throwing up.
waited.
I
Oh my
would
god,
have
this is
waited.
mine
I
right
would
there.
have waited.
I would have waited, and Dianthus did not.
Ha
Mhm.
ha ha.
That's so
Also,
funny.
for our viewers at home, they are
Flying.
like flying in
Yep.
this moment, like literally
got
falling
wings.
through the clouds. So yeah,
Yeah.
They
go
I
check out
just
the
caught
episodes.
Yarrow
Yep,
and
I caught you after you fell for the succubus.
whoop.
Which was Dianthus,
Aye.
which looked like
Like
Dianthus.
me.
Didn't talk like you.
No, it didn't. I was asking for help. That should have been a red fucking flag. Yeah. Sorry I'm late. I would have waited.
Yep.
I'm gonna
And it's
scream.
funny. Yarrow would have
I'm
waited.
going to scream.
Yarrow would have waited as long as it took to get Dianthus and the rest of our friends off the moon.
I want to ask what you were actually saying in those sentences, right? Because you
Oh!
weren't just saying, sorry, I'm late. I would have
Ah,
waited,
sorry.
right? What were you actually saying? What were you saying, Dianthus? And what was your, what is the, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
did, what were
Mhm,
you,
mhm.
what are the word, what did you, yeah,
what are you thinking?
give me the
What were the
juices.
underlying meanings?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry I'm late can roughly translate to sorry I left and sorry I didn't try harder to get to you faster. Sorry we're in this situation. Sorry we're in the middle of this fight. Sorry I didn't try harder. That's what sorry I'm late means.
And I think it's okay, I would have waited is kind of like, it's okay because you're someone I care about, you're a friend, no matter what you do. It's okay, like you're an exception to a lot of
Ah!
things.
Oh.
I would wait for you to consider me a friend. I would wait for you to respect me.
Ah!
I would wait for you to just want to spend time with me, whatever it may be. Yarrow thinks that Dianthus is a person worth that.
Scream and cry.
Caleb?
I have a question for Freckle because we've
Yep.
talked, in this kind of context, but also in game, of how Dianthus's like death domain, right, like influences very obviously aspects of their character and backstory and all that sort of stuff. But in talking about waiting in time and death, like Yarrow as a clockwork sorcerer, how does that influence or guide the way that you see your relationship with Dianthus?
I think it almost gives them a little more hope because while death is something that he is afraid of, he's scared of Embers dying, he's scared of himself dying, his friends dying. Um, but now knowing that he has this weird time magic and maybe if he can learn to manipulate it a bit better, maybe there is a situation where if someone died, I can pull back the time and redo this, or I can like twist these threads into a knot and stop that from happening. Or maybe I could just mess with things and, selfishly not think of the consequences for the rest of the world. Caleb, your expression is scaring me.
I hate that face.
If it meant protecting and saving the people I care about because they so badly want to be able to do that. They want to help. They have this hope that I have this now. And while it wasn't useful then, if I can learn to use this, I can change things. They think for the better, but time is funny like that. So
I wish that Yarrow got Lady M's speech too. The you can't be afraid of it, it's yours.
Mm.
Like, it's your power, you know? And I think obviously like you can use power in selfish ways, but like at the end of the day, it's yours. And yes, there's gray, but saving people you love, while it's selfish, it's never evil. It's never bad, you know? Which is something that I really like in media and other D&D like real plays and all that kind of stuff is like when you save somebody, there's a consequence to that, with no doubt. But like you're saving somebody.
Mhm.
And maybe that person can save someone else too.
That's so beautiful. What the fuck? That's so beautiful.
Thank you. I will take my Pulitzer Prize now.
Yes. These guys, I hate them so much. I'm gonna put them in a room. That's all.
And they'll kiss.
Maybe. Or they won't. Realistically, they will not for at least 50 years.
Boo!
Did you say 50 years?
I did say 50 years.
I'm just
That's
a
too
little guy. I
long.
won't live that long.
You have to kiss in Nortia's lifetime. That is the rule. That is the rule.
I can't die before you guys kiss. That would be very much a cliffhanger.
It really would.
I have that. Everyone has to know about the kids.
Nortia is dangling from a cliff about to die. She's like, please just kiss.
I think Nortia would be the first person Yarrow goes to tell when they finally do kiss.
And
He's
Emma's
like,
gonna be
Nortia,
the first
oh my God,
Dianthus
guess
to
what?
Did I fuck up? Did I fuck this up? I feel like I fucked this up.
That's so cute.
I have
Caleb.
Caleb.
Tony copped it. That you're flying.
Taking notes. Taking notes this
I'm
whole
so
time.
scared of you.
It's so funny doing these TCAPs and like obviously last time I was watching, but being in it and you know even just interacting in our Discord and you know our Twitch and YouTube and you know whatever you know medium we're on, y'all will stumble across things that are happening that you the players and by extension the characters don't know are happening, and so me as the DM is like, that would be such a peculiar thing if that were to happen.
You are very alone with I am
Wild.
stupid because I forget things like immediately.
Here's the realty on that note that we talked about though. Nortia's gonna die before all you bitches.
Hey. No.
Listen.
Unless
I
she
have
is
funny time
talking about
magic.
that thing, you know, the thing I'm talking about that we don't talk about in front of
Mhm.
Caleb, the
correct.
theory.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Unless
That's my favorite
she's
theory of all time.
that, then like we know like she's fine.
Right.
You know?
Mhm,
But
mhm.
like
But she isn't.
but if she isn't, then like I think to Nortia, like as long as she lives a life with love, it's a life worth living, you know, no matter when she dies.
That's really sweet and all, but I'm
Oh.
not gonna let you die.
That's so silly. If she dies of old age, what are you gonna do, bitch?
Bring it back.
Revivify.
Any time magic? Who's to say I can't just pop you in a little pocket
Exactly.
of no time?
Exactly. Make a little pocket dimension just for us. Just for us.
That's very cute. I love that. But like, so like, it's covered in the last episode. Which if you have not watched it,
Go fucking
you're
watch
dumb
it.
and stupid. I'm
What are
kidding.
you
But
doing?
please watch it.
I'm in your
But like
house.
she
Go
even
watch
says
it.
that, you know, like when she realizes like she would spend eternity alone, but someone else also would have to do that. She's like,
Mhm.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Like I can't deem that fate worthy for anybody. Like
Party full of hypocrites.
life is love, and that's what makes it worth living.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of life is love, death is also love. Time is also love. Time of death, baby.
Time of death, baby.
I think that Dianthus and Yarrow are such an interesting couple. And I will say couple from now on. I'm manifesting. But they remind me a lot of like there's this like sunshine and like grumpy character, right? But like to me it's it's this whole different level because both of them have storm clouds. Not both of them show it as often, right? But like Yarrow says a lot of things that are like sad thoughts, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'll pay you back. I'll help you in whatever way. Like, that makes at least me. I'm not sure if this is what's going on in Yarrow's head. Freckle, feel free to chime in, but it seems like people only love me if I can bring value to them. You know.
I think that is a bit of how his head kind of works. I think he does think like I need to be able to help people because people have helped me, and I need to like repay that. I need to just. I think it's a pressure more so he puts on himself, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how we meet Yarrow. In the first
Yeah.
season with Gongqui, it was like, we gave you gold.
Mhm.
You're doing this thing for us, and then by extension, they're helping you with your research. It's just
It's just
tragic.
a constant cycle.
And they're each other's sunshines, even if they don't realize it, you know?
Nuts.
Yeah.
Oh my god. We haven't really touched on it really at all, but time and death, baby. We didn't plan that, first of all. We did not go into this shit like, we're gonna like make our characters guess. We didn't. We went, haha, that's so funny, they both have flower names. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And now we're here.
And even I almost had like a different character,
Yes, you
and then
did.
I was like, actually, I'm gonna do this little guy. And then I went, flower name. How about that was it. That was the concept.
Exactly. And now we're here. And the fact that separately we made characters that like death and time and how intertwined those two concepts are, it's fascinating. Some would say fated. Anyway.
It writes itself.
It really does.
We love
Betty,
the
did you
theme.
have something to say?
Yes.
I was just gonna say, to put a little bow on this, at this moment in time with what your characters know, do you think your character thinks they will end up with the other? Or,
No.
slash, do they hope they will end up with the other?
I think Yarrow hopes.
Aww.
Whether or not actually, you know, because it's all dependent on Dianthus for them. If Dianthus goes like, then they're like, okay, never mind, we're good. I'm gonna go off do my own thing. But if they do show any interest, then might be. I would like to.
Gonna shut my
We
phone
kiss your
off
little
after this
face.
fucking meeting. No to both. He hopes they don't. He really hopes they don't
What?
because he knows how bad things are gonna get. He has
Oh,
a
no.
horrible
Yeah, that's
feeling
really
of how bad things
fair.
are gonna get, and if they keep Yarrow at a distance, that is less chance Yarrow's gonna get hurt.
True.
Or less chance that they'll have to feel the hurt.
Or less chance that he's gonna have to see Yarrow die.
Well, same thing with like, you know, you got the two little undead and the fae, and then you got the little tiefling and
Yeah.
human.
Human question mark? Yeah. Made of magic question mark?
Made of dreams.
Star.
Telstar.
Yeah.
I love
No.
it. Yeah.
I hope they end up together. I love
Me
these
too.
two
Me,
guys.
Icarus, God, it's horrible. This is torture not to just be like, yeah, done and done, baby. They're together.
And Deb,
They
yeah.
kiss.
I can't do that.
And
Gotta have the drama.
Gotta have it. We need it.
gotta have the drama.
It's beautiful. It's juicy. We love it. Thank you all so much for watching the TCAP,
Thank you.
the Strangers Guild recap show. I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody here right now. It might be because it's 4:00 in the morning, almost 4:20. Plays it. But so I might be a little sentimental and delirious. I love playing with all of them so much, and they are truly the best people in the world to create with. And if you don't believe me, try it yourself, because then you'll fall in love with them all platonically, and then you'll move across the world, and then it will be hard to talk to them more. But then you just love them more because distance makes the heart grow fonder.
That's right. That's fucking right.
Sabrina, we love you so much.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
You are all treasures. And thank you guys for joining us today.
Yes, thank you.
This was fun.
So is it too early to be like, hey, season 2 might be happening very soon, very soon? Is it too early?
It's kind of sort of soon.
Sure, soon enough.
Follow Caleb the Bard
Not soon
_ on Twitch for future episodes of the Strangers Guild. If you missed last season, go ahead and follow us on Spotify and on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts to listen to these episodes that Icarus is working their little booty off editing for us. If you do not already follow the lovely people here, all of their ats are down below, right below me. Go follow them right now, or else I will find you. I will find you, and I will give you a stern talking to.
Hey.
All of the lovely little art of the characters you see on screen is done by Freckle. And the clips today were edited by Icarus. Thank you so much to the co-host of this show, Betty, and our wonderful DM, who without this none of this would be possible. Thank you so much. We love you. Have a great night. And get your booties in gear and catch up, because season 2, it's gonna hurt you.
And now we're on hiatus, so now's the time. Now's the time, baby.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
Now's the
Make it
time.
happen.
Until we figure out our schedules.
Yeah.
You have time to catch up.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're watching you, and you should be watching us. Follow us at the Strangers Guild on all social media. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.